everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Decision Hour. I'm your host, Adam Bird. Today, I've got a real banger, or a rower, I should say, of an interview for you. Today, I'm joined by a U.S. Army veteran. He's the founder of Southern Illinois Veteran Foundation. And this story, it's incredible. Endurance, purpose, and family. We're going to kind of get all of it in as one here. Sean, along with his son Aiden, are preparing for something absolutely massive. They have an organization called Oarsome Odyssey. Go to OARSOME Odyssey, all one word, .org. If you're listening to this or you're watching this right now, you're already online. Just open up another browser. It takes 2 seconds to do it. They're gearing up, or they were gearing up for a row, and they still are, for a 2,800-mile row across the Pacific Ocean from California to Hawaii. And as we're getting this started, he said, hey, I want to throw something else in here for you. And you guys, we're bringing it to you right here on the Decision Hour. So without further ado, my new friend, Sean, what's up, brother? How are you? Great to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm super excited. I know my face doesn't match my excitement, but I am. It's been pretty amazing the last few weeks, and with everything going on, and so yeah, I'm just super stoked about what we can accomplish.
I'm loving this, man. I love the story behind that. And before we dive into what you guys are going to be doing here, let the listeners and the viewers know who this cat really is. Give us a little bit of your background.
I'm Sean Dillard. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I served during, I went into the military in 2006. Spent some time in Germany, and then I was deployed to Iraq in 08, 09. Then I came home in 2010. Did National Guard for a year. Did not like it. But nevertheless, finished that up, and then so that was my military career. And then the last 15 years of my life since then, it's kind of been chaotic.
Yeah.
At least to say, never really found a purpose, never really found different things. And then, this last 2 years, I finally found a purpose and a mission that I've been gung ho about.
Well, let's talk about that. I mentioned Oarsome Odyssey, and you also created the Southern Illinois Veteran Foundation as well. What was your decision hour moment that led you to create these organizations, foundations?
So in the last 3 years, the big thing that I've learned about veteran suicide, and it's something I've struggled with for many years. Ever since I got out of the military, I've had multiple attempts of my own life, and I've kept it pretty hidden for a very long time. But when I started getting involved with the Ocean Row, one of the things I started doing was really opening my eyes to the impact that veteran suicide is. I knew I dealt with it, but I didn't know how much it really had a big impact on our entire veteran community.
Right.
And I started it wasn't until about, like I said, 3 years ago that I learned about 22 a day. I never really heard it or never really thought about it until I started getting involved. And then as I started diving into it, I started looking at the statistics, the actual hard numbers of it, and it was scary.
Right.
I've seen that between 2001 and 2021, they did a 20-year study of veterans who had committed suicide, and that number was over 144,000 committed suicide. And in that same time, we only lost 6,000. So it was 6,000 something. I don't know the exact number that we lost in theater in Iraq and Afghanistan. I mean, the enemy was beating us on our own turf.
Yeah.
That's the way that I saw it. But some of the things that I was learning that really impacted and veterans who are less likely to commit suicide are those ones that are a part of a community. And so I've just been jump diving headfirst into building a community, building that connection. I've always had an issue with talking with people. Um, I'm very quiet when you first meet me. And I kind of assess what's going on with
Yeah.
everybody and so, but now it's like I've loved the connections. I love meeting new people. I joined Rotary about a year ago, and that was another avenue of my life that has just changed. I've been meeting more and more people and making more and more of those connections. And the beauty of it is, I no longer I don't want to kill myself anymore. I'm at the point in my life that I want to live.
Yeah.
And I mean, really live. I really want to do things. I want to get out there, see things, experience things, meet people. And I really, I started Southern Illinois Veterans Foundation as an avenue to do that with other veterans, getting veterans connected with other veterans. It's not about resources. There's hundreds and thousands of resources out there for veterans who need it. You need help with your mortgage, there's a service. You need help getting clothes, there's resources. And that's great. Love them. But we also need to make those connections. We need to say, hi, hey, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
And we need to be talking with each other and just, and that's what's important. And that's why we're doing this.
I love it, man. I love it. So is it safe to say then that you've found your purpose in life?
I have.
Yeah.
I have. It's been a long time. It's been a long time coming. And that's the biggest thing about this is, when about 3 years, like I'm really hardcore. About 3 years ago, I was an over the road trucker.
Yeah.
I did it for about 3.5 years, and I was struggling so much that there was just some days that I just wanted to take that steering wheel and just pull it over and just take it out. I felt like I was on autopilot. I wasn't living.
Right.
I was just getting by,
Right.
and that was it. And then it's just funny the story behind it, and I didn't really take too much into consideration about the real story, but one day I started designing T-shirts for a gaming company that me and my buddies were trying to start, and I started designing these things, and I started noticing that I'm getting a little bit out of my head, right? So, long story short, all of my friends that were supposed to be helping with it didn't help me with it, and it ended up being my own thing. And then I'm just like, kind of like, you know what? I just don't feel it. Like, what's the purpose in this?
Right.
Like, it just wasn't driving me. And one day I look over at my wife and I said, hey, what do you think about me changing gears and starting a company called Shirts for Vets? And she's like, I like it. So I shifted gears and I started designing shirts for vets. And, and it was never really supposed to be very much. I was just planning on doing it in my part time. And so I started putting some feelers out there about who would be actually interested in, buying these shirts and stuff like that. And Rangers Row, it was a group of 4 Army Rangers that were going to be rowing across the Pacific Ocean from California to Hawaii. And they reached out to me and they said, hey, could you donate some shirts for this row? And I'm like, no. Like, I'm doing this out of the back of my semi. I'm like, I don't have the means for that. But what I can do is I can set you up a virtual store. And so Shirts for Vets shifted from doing that to making a store. And the funny thing is when I met Rangers Row, I didn't even have a website yet. So I'm like, okay, now I got to make a website. I got to get all this stuff going. Like, it shifted.
It's kind of the cart before the horse, kind of.
It was. But I got involved with them.
Yeah.
And along the way, one of the rowers wasn't able to do the row. So they kind of jokingly asked me if I would want to row. They're like, it's easy. The rowing's the easy part.
Yeah.
Everything else is the hard part. And so at first I told them hell no.
Yeah.
But, a week later, I'm thinking about it. And, I talked to my wife and my kids about it. And I'm just like, I'd be kind of crazy not to do this, right? I mean, I'm from Southern Illinois. I mean, I'm virtually landlocked. I mean, yeah, I know we got rivers all over the place, but, we don't live near an ocean. So it's kind of crazy to think ocean row.
Right.
And so, after, like I said, after we talked about it, decided, hey, and talked with the guys, and they're like, yeah, So, we started training for it, and I was supposed to row cross with them. We went down to Key West, Florida, started doing training. While we were there, I ended up getting a hernia during our training. And so I had to have surgery, got it fixed. But, because of that, I wasn't able to do the row with them.
Right.
So, and I'll tell you this, I started spiraling out of control after that because I felt like my biggest thing is I felt like I let them down.
Yeah.
I felt like I let everybody down. I've been going around telling everybody about this epic mission I'm doing, and then here I am, I'm not doing it. I felt like a loser. And so I started drinking real bad, and I started spiraling out of control, and then just finally one day um I just turned around and I'm just like, enough's enough. Like I
Yeah.
dropped the bottle and decided I'm gonna do an ocean crossing. I'm gonna do it. So I called my buddy Roy. Uh, he was the skipper for Range Oars, and I said, "Hey, can I borrow your boat so I can start doing some fundraising?" And he's like, "Yeah, come and get it." And I drove up to New Jersey, picked up the boat, brought it back, set it up in my hometown, and just started doing some fundraising, started getting the message out there. And
How long ago was that? When was that?
back in September.
No. Oh, so very recent. Very, very recent.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was during our town and country days.
Sean, let me ask you this. You're planning this trip, and the initial trip, we'll talk about this initial trip first, about rowing the Pacific from California to Hawaii, 2,800 miles, and you want to do it with your son, who's 13?
Well, he is 11 right now.
11, okay. So
Yeah.
okay.
So the plan was we were going to do it in 2028,
Gotcha.
and so he would have been 13 at that time.
So, but I want to know what was his reaction when you said, "Hey, you and me are going to do this"? Was he looking at you like, no, Dad, you're crazy? Or was he just like, "Yeah, let's do this. I'm game."
So no, I didn't ask him.
I was okay.
And I brought up Town and Country Days.
Yeah.
It's our local town festival.
Yeah.
And he was there helping me fundraise. And constantly when he was going, and I mean, he'll talk about the boat. I mean, he'll walk you through. He'll tell you, hey, this is the EPIRB. This is the oar. This is the water maker. I mean, he was just on it. And people would ask him, are you doing the row? Are you doing the row with your dad? Are you that crazy too? And he kept saying, no, but I would like to. And he just kept saying it. And I just, and I kept saying he was too young.
Yeah.
But then when I was taking the boat back to New Jersey and I was talking with Roy, and Roy kind of said, why not? He's like, by the time you go to do the row, he'll be older. He'll have time to prepare. I'm like, okay. And so when I was on my way back from New Jersey, I called his mom before I talked to him.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, what do you think about Aiden doing the row? And surprisingly, she was on board with it. She's like, I'm nervous. I'm scared.
Right.
But she's like, I'm not going to tell my kid that he can't do something.
Yeah.
So
Hell of an experience. What's your guys' like the physical row from California to Hawaii is unimaginable, right? So obviously you guys are doing some type of, I'm assuming you guys are doing some type of training now in preparation to look like what it's supposed to look like in 2028 when you guys were initially going to do this. What's that preparation now, and is that leading into what we kind of talked offline that we'll mention? Maybe give everybody a sneak peek of what you're planning on doing here first.
Yeah. So the training for something like this is pretty aggressive. It's a lot of working out.
Yeah.
It's a lot of row machine. Not to mention getting a boat out there on the water. There's a lot that you have to do, and a lot of contingency stuff that you have to train for as well. Just like when we were in the military, we trained for every worst scenario. What do you do if your buddy goes down? What do you do if the radio guy goes down? All that kind of stuff. And we do the same stuff for the boat. When we get on that boat, everybody has to learn every job. There's not one person that knows how to do everything. Everybody knows how to do everything, because if somebody goes down, you have to take over.
Yeah. How many people are doing this with it's not, is it just you and Aiden in the boat, or is there a support vessel that's following? How does, it may sound like an ignorant question, but how does that work? I would imagine there's somebody there in case of emergency, or you have some type of radio comms.
So there's no support vessel for the ocean row from Hawaii to California. It's all unsupported. So we bring all of our own food with us. We bring all of our supplies. We make our own water from the ocean. The boat has solar panels on it. So it's state of the art. It's got a radio in it. We have emergency services. So, if we do get in trouble, we can call the Coast Guard. So yeah, that's just kind of the avenue of it.
So now you're doing some, before this happens in 2028. You're actually doing something before the California Hawaii one.
Yes.
Right. And it's I'll let you kind of dive in, because I'm on the website now and I'm looking at it and I'm just like, what in the world?
Which, surprisingly, I just updated the website today before we got on.
Yes.
Because I'm like, this
and real quick, those of you that are listening or that are watching this, go to the website, oursomeodyssey.org, and you're gonna see this map and pull it up. But go ahead, Sean, talk about this, because this is cool as heck, and you're just like, holy crap.
So this previous weekend, we went down and we started kind of like mentoring with a fellow named Paul Laurie. Okay. Paul Laurie is a Marine veteran who has done the ocean crossings a bunch of times. He's done the Atlantic crossing twice. Wow. He's done the Pacific once, I believe, maybe twice. And then he's actually getting ready to next month to cross the Atlantic from Newfoundland. I can't talk. One of those countries up by Canada.
Yeah.
to the UK, which that one's going to be interesting because they have to actually navigate around icebergs in an ocean rowboat. So, but anyway, we went down there, one, because Aiden's so young, we wanted him to really assess and kind of give us pointers of what we need to do, kind of different things. Yeah. And, he was worried, with Aiden being so young, that, something happens out on the ocean that, that's not going to be an easy way to get help. And so we kind of heeded his advice, and he suggested that we push out the ocean row. And so that's what we're doing. We're going to push the ocean row out to 2030, 2031, okay, maybe even further. The important thing is we're not trying to break any records. We're not going for any world records or anything like that. We're just trying to accomplish this as our own.
Yeah.
But he had suggested an awesome way to really push out the message and get more of the community involved is to do the Great Loop.
What's the Great Loop?
So I just learned what the Great Loop was this weekend, and so I've been super excited about it because honestly, I think it's going to be more epic than doing an ocean row,
Yeah.
or equivalently to an epicness.
Right.
So the Great Loop, it goes from Chicago and it follows the waterways down the Illinois River through the Mississippi on down through the Tennessee rivers, or you can take the Mississippi all the way down, but then
Right.
you go into the Gulf of Mexico, and from there you go all the way around Florida.
Yeah.
You can go all the way down to Key West, and then back up the East Coast, and you'll go in through the intercoastal waterways,
Yeah.
up the eastern, all the way up to New York, and then you'll follow the canals all in through the through
Hudson. Yeah.
Canada,
Yeah.
and then you go through the Great Lakes, and then you come back down to Chicago, and it is the Great Loop. Most people retire by a boat, a commercial trawling boat, or some kind of yacht, or something like that, and they do the Great Loop. But we're going to do it in the ocean rowboat.
How many miles is that?
6. So it does vary depending on how you
Roughly.
do it, because there's different little routes that you can
Right.
take.
Right.
But we're planning on doing the full 6,000 mile.
Now, how long does that take? Have you planned out how many days or months that will take to do 6,000?
So we haven't planned out anything yet for it. I mean, we literally just decided to do this last week. But typical rowers, or typical loopers, are what they called,
Yeah.
will do it in about a year, and that's in a motored boat.
Okay.
So we're doing it in the ocean rowboat, so it's going to be very much different.
Right.
The other aspect of it is it's not going to be a continuous row for us.
Right.
We're actually going to be stopping off at different places,
Yeah.
resting up, visiting people, making those connections like I talked about.
Yeah.
Because in the end, that's really what the mission is, and that's what I want. I don't
The community aspect of it, building
exactly,
that
and
community.
I feel like this is the avenue, and that's why I've kind of like gone strung into it, because I'm like, the community can get so big and so excited about this
Yeah.
versus
Well,
just doing an ocean
and
crossing.
here's the other thing: you're going through the entire eastern seaboard, basically, right? And then the states in between, from basically from the Atlantic over to the Mississippi, and everybody in between. There's a section of that route where people could come cheer you on or meet up with you if they know they're going to stop and stuff like that. Certainly not going to be able to do that in an open ocean or whatnot. So the fact that the community can come cheer you on and meet with you on your stops and stuff like that, get that support, show the support, stuff like that. I think that's a great idea. It's an awesome. You look at the Great Loop, and I didn't realize it was. I've heard of people doing trips down the Mississippi and then around up through the Great Lakes, but then I see this, and you forget about all the different tributaries that are in line there, that you can, different routes you could take. This is pretty cool. This is really neat that you guys are doing this. Go ahead.
So, in the more exciting part about this is, and we don't have to do it in one go.
Right.
So the plan is we're going to do it in legs. We're going to pick, with Aiden still being in school, we're going to shoot more to the summer months. We'll drop the boat in the water at a starting point. We've been thinking either Chicago, but we also been thinking starting right here on the Ohio River, which is right in our backyard.
Yeah.
We're 20 miles away from the Ohio River that goes right into the Tennessee.
Yeah.
So that would be a perfect starting point. But regardless, the plan is we will row or run our mission for the 2 months. We get wherever we get to, and then we pull it up out of the water and we boat it on home, and then wait till the next
pick up where
year.
you left off on the next break or the next summer break or whatnot.
Exactly.
I want to ask, like, when you're talking about this with people and they find out that your son's going to be going with you on it, what's the reaction that people have, or is there a misconception, or what are the questions that people ask about it?
All of the above. I've had people that are super excited about it.
Yeah.
One lady, like I was telling you, with Rotary, and one lady just was so inspired by Aiden and what he does, awarded him a Paul Harris Fellow through Rotary, which is like one of our highest awards in Rotary.
Wow.
I don't even have one.
Wow.
And my 11-year-old son has one. He is so proud of it. So that kind of tells you the reaction that we get from some people. And
Yeah.
then another gentleman come up to me telling me that I'm an irresponsible parent, that I should never allow him to do something like that. And I get it, 100%. There's some nights, and I'll tell you this, there's some nights that I lay awake thinking, am I making the right choice? And, I'm questioning my own cause, because it's my son, if something were to happen to him, I would never forgive myself.
Right.
I
But
don't, I know my mentality will go out the door immediately if something were to happen to him.
I mean, you're talking to a guy that was a single parent for 15 years, and I raised my son on my own. I think this is a great. I can't. I would love to have an opportunity to have done something like this with my boy when he was that age. I think it's a great idea because the lessons learned that you're not going to get in a classroom while he's doing this, and more importantly, the father son bonding time that you guys are going to get to have together is stuff that he will take into the rest of his life. And it would just be like such an awesome experience. Like, my dad's badass. We did this, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that in and of itself is awesome. So as a fellow father, who was a single parent for 15 years, my hat's off to you, my friend. I think that's a smart idea, and I think it's great. And I'm a little jealous that I didn't have that kind of opportunity when my son was that age to do something like this, because that's absolutely amazing. And
I'm excited
don't ever second guess it, man. I know that there's time to do it, but I'm telling you, man, only you know what's right for your kid, and the fact that you're giving your son this opportunity, hats off to you, seriously.
Well, and that's why the Great Loop, I think, is really important, because I think it's going to help, more, it's going to help strengthen us in getting us ready for the ocean row.
Right.
We can circumnavigate, rivers and that stuff is not the open water. It is a lot harder to navigate river systems than it is the open ocean. I mean, we will have to worry about barges,
bars, and you got big bars coming
shoals.
up. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different things. I mean, looking at it, like, thing that scares me the most is we're going to have to go through locks in this ocean rowboat.
Yeah.
And it's bad enough when you're just in a commercial, or not a commercial, but a recreational big trolley boat. And I've been watching videos on them going through the lock system. But, I'm like trying to think, okay, well, this boat's easily tips. Like, and we're going to have to hold the rope this certain way. And like,
yeah,
it's going to be
it's no joke. But again, like, I can't think of anything cooler than to be like, what'd you do this summer? Oh, me and my son just went on this long ass journey in a rowboat. And you're just like, what? Like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Folks, if you're watching, listening, it's oresomeodyssey.org, and they're taking donations right now. Yes? But people that are listening, that watch this, that want to support you or whatnot, they can make a donation on the website, I'm assuming. Yes?
Yes. Yeah, we actually have opportunity. You can go on there and you can sponsor a mile. So if you want to you can pick out whatever mile between 1 and 6,000, which you can't have 1 because somebody already got it, but you can pick out mostly any other number. $22 sponsors a mile, and you can dedicate it. If you lost a soldier or a family member, is one way of doing it. And then we've got a virtual 5K also on there that we're doing to help raise money. And then you can just donate directly as well. And then we also have sponsorships, which I really think doing this river, the Great Loop, is going to be phenomenal for getting sponsors involved with it, because it's been a challenge to find sponsors to get excited about an ocean row, because they're all like, yeah, that's super exciting, but ain't nobody going to see my logo out in the middle of the ocean. Okay. Well, now we're going to be going all along the seaboard,
Yeah.
So
Everybody up
funny.
the East Coast going to be able to see it. So I love this. Sean, I got one more question for you as we're coming up on time here. It's a question I ask everybody. The show is called The Decision Hour, and we have to make decisions every day. Name a time in your life where your feet are on the line and you have to make that decision. What is it, and what's the atmosphere like at that time?
The decision to do the row.
Walk us through it.
That was one of the hardest things that I had to decide. It was that aspect of wanting to change my life from living day by day, just getting by, to actually getting behind something meaningful again. I was in the military, we had a mission, every day was just awesome. And then, it ended, and then you go into the mundane life, and which is fine for some people, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And when I decided that I was going to do this row, and that just changed everything for me. I've been a better man in the last 3 years. I've given so much back. I've opened up. I've been open about everything that goes on in my life. As far as my mental health, and I finally, I'm at that point where I want to live.
Yeah.
I want to live, and I'm going to live, and I'm not going to let anybody or anything get in my way for me to live.
I love that.
I'm done with that.
I love that. Great job, brother. And I appreciate you being here, man. You're making a difference. You're making a difference.
Awesome.
Folks, that's all the time that we got. Make sure you go check out oursomeodyssey.org. Get involved, be a part of it, stay in touch, and follow on this journey that they are going to be embarking on. And I'm sure this isn't the last time we will hear from them. We'll have them as we cover this, as they get closer and closer to the date of launch and whatnot. Again, oursomeodyssey.org. Also, go check out our parent network, Heroes Media Group. Go check out all the great podcast shows over there, as well as the articles and stuff that's going on over there, heroesmediagroup.com. Until next time, you've been listening to The Decision Hour.